I would like to first point out that the gentleman Yasser Hamid that Lexi mentioned, he was a U.S.-born citizen. He was born in the U.S. His parents are from Saudi Arabia, so he's a dual citizen. That doesn't mean he is exempt from utilizing his U.S. citizenship. Just because he's a dual citizenship with a country that's known to have terrorist organizations attacking the U.S. That's something you need to be pointed out. Also, all the federal judges, they're making it seem like every federal judge that gets anything into their courtroom regarding the Patriot Act, they automatically okay and approve the condemned potential and suspected terrorists. That's not always the case. Chris talked about wiretaps from the Department of Government and Justice Studies at Appalachian State University again. An example was that the SAFE Act would amend the provisions of the law that allow the FBI to conduct the surveillance of Americans with limited judicial involvement in the process. Roving wiretaps will be delayed through this revision, and the sneak and peek search warrants will be curtailed. That's part of the revision that we are for, because it's not the fact that, yeah, they might not be reading your text messages to your friends or looking through your emails, but the fact that they're currently able to, and they do, is the problem. Grace talked about suspected terrorists, and then Chris talked about how there's been 39 stopped attempts of suspected terrorism against the U.S., whether abroad or on national soil. I don't know if anybody remembers in 2006, there was a letter that falsely implied the would-be shoe bomber Richard Reed, who was an American citizen. He was stopped by the U.S. Patriot Act. That's what all the tabloids said, but what really happened was this gentleman on an airplane, he was stopped because he was trying to light a shoe bomb with a lighter on an airplane. That's citizens making a stand and other citizens that were on that flight standing up and getting in the way and protecting themselves. It's not the U.S. Patriot Act that somehow jumped up from a piece of paper and stopped this gentleman from exploding the plane with the shoe bomb. That's just ridiculous. And Lexi and I, we're not saying that innocent people, or excuse me, everybody that is charged with the Patriot Act is innocent. An example that we're going to acknowledge is, we know that innocent people have been held for years in Guantanamo Bay in Cuba as enemy combatants. We know this because the administration has released information. The problem with that is that the secrecy clause allows for governmental agencies to release information if they want to. If they feel it's not a national security problem, or if they feel, oh, this information may not be too important. And so the secrecy clause allows for strict government regulation of breaches of invasion of privacy, potential and suspected terrorism, and so forth. And the last note, this gentleman who was an American citizen, Jose Padilla, was demanded release by the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals by a vote of 2-1 because the government was holding him in military custody as an enemy combatant purely on suspicion. So there are many cases that show the government is abusing the Patriot Act and that it needs reform. Thank you.